back just at this weekend really quick. How special is it when you look back and see a guy like Isaac Matson get his first win, and then you get to watch Braxton Ashcraft do it, and both in really cool ways in important leverage situations in the game?
It was. They both did a great job. The whole weekend, the energy, the whole series was great, and to have those two guys step up like that, and that's what it's going to take. We need all 26 guys to be ready, and they stepped up in huge ways in huge situations.
And then the time before that, Braxton was on the mound. It was to help Mike Burrows get his second big league win. Burrows back on the mound today. What do you hope to see from him from that growing moment last outing?
Yeah, same thing. He's found ways to slow the game down. Last time, first batter, Pena went 3-0, able to slow it down, strike him out. Just looking for him to continue that, dominating the strike zone with all of his pitches, getting ahead, and doing a great job like he did last time against the Astros.
It's been 1 month since you took over as manager. What's been the biggest challenge? What's been the number one thing you've learned?
Oh man, great question. I think biggest challenge is the media. No offense to any of you, but just like getting the flow of the day, it changes. Going from everything being structured on the field, doing the daily schedule and everything, and now it's more communication. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is that with the players, just communicating, trying to do that more efficiently, effectively, throughout the days of, making sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the day-to-day and then the plan going forward.
And what's the biggest thing you've learned?
I think that's it. The learning how to do that in this role. Okay. Of, it's a little bit different than being in the bench coach job of, learning how to, and I think that delegating too, probably a little bit of, the stuff that I was doing and being able to delegate that. The staff has been phenomenal in filling those gaps and, delegating to them the things that I was doing before.
How long do you think it took you to kind of like settle into that routine or just kind of develop a process for yourself?
Yeah. Still not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, still getting into that, but it's getting smoother every day.
Yeah. You feel like the month flew by, or was it long?
It's been a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's at times it feels like it flies, and then at times it's you feel like learning those things takes time, but it's gone by pretty quick.
What do you think your strength is as a manager?
I would ask you guys. That's interesting.
Honestly,
maybe the players. Yeah, I think my strength would be in that communication and trying to do that effectively and as efficiently as I can, but certainly not perfect at it and always still trying to get better. I think it's really important though.
As far as in-game strategy, what's the most difficult thing you found here after having a month's worth of games?
In-game strategy.
Is it running the bullpen? I know a lot of managers say that.
Yeah, I would say the bullpen, for sure. Making sure, because you can't just get somebody called down there and get them in the game. You have to give them time. You have to be ahead of it. You have to understand certain situations where they might pinch hit. Who they're going to try to use. What do you need to be prepared for? Definitely would say the bullpen.
DK, how much goes into when you get ejected, and how much can that send a message to the team that you're standing up for those guys, that you've got their backs? How much of that is maybe intentional? How much of it is more just a matter of, I'm going to show these guys, and whatever comes of it, comes of it?
Not intentional at all, to be honest. For most of you that know me, I've always been pretty level-headed, I think. It just happened, and I think that in the moment when you're competing and you see the guys out there competing and you feel like maybe it was, injustice or disrespectful or whatever it is, that emotion takes over, I guess, and you try to eliminate as much of that as possible. But you also want the guys to know that you're in it with them, and we've had some big calls late in games that obviously I didn't agree with in the moment and ended up getting tossed, but it wasn't intentional at all.
But as a player, you saw your managers get ejected. You kind of shows them that you care. I mean, they get that message at the very least.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's one thing Leland was phenomenal at, for those of you that saw, and you knew that he had your back in that moment, and replay has taken some of that away. The bang bang plays at first, but I didn't think Leland was that athletic, but he could get out there pretty fast.
What takes you off? Like, I mean, what pushes your buttons, you know, to get you to that point? Because you do seem like pretty laid back.
Yeah, I think it's the disrespectful stuff. Like, you take certain instances where we're on the road in Philly, we're on the road in San Diego, and take it personally whenever you don't feel that they don't make the right call. And I think that, you know, that what we've talked about with the team is going out there every day individually and collectively to earn that respect. And that's what we have to do every single day, is go out there to earn it, and it's not going to be given to you. You have to go out there and earn it and take it.
How have you kind of seen your players react in those situations to you kind of having their back? Is it having like one-on-one conversations in the clubhouse, things like that? Just kind of how have they reacted in those situations?
Pretty good. And it's a fine line too, and talk to them also. Like, we're not going to be a team that just goes out there and complains about every call either. It's a baseball game. The umpires aren't perfect. We're not perfect. You know, we're not going to go out and just complain about every single little call. But the big ones, whenever, you know, the game's been on the line in those moments, like that to me is a time that we have to get those right.
Yeah.
Is there a part of the shot that's been most gratifying for you?
Oof. I'd like to say the winning, which is like the wins, I think, is a natural thing to say, but I think it's the process of how the guys are competing, playing. Like we talked about in some of those games, we lost some of those games, but we finished the game. And even though it sounds crazy, but you lose to the Brewers on a day when we're down 8-3 going into the last inning, but we get McGill in the game, there's a small win in that. In continuing to compete, continuing to have good at-bats throughout the rest of the game, even when you're down pretty big and you give up 2 runs there. So I think it's just the way we've gone about it has been really good so far.
You guys have seemed to play pretty crisp style of ball over the month that you've been here. Are you pretty happy with that, about just the way, like, fundamentally sound more than maybe earlier in the year, and just, you know, cutting down on the base running mistakes, the mental errors, things like that?
Yeah, we've played good baseball, and I think that early on we talked about that too, is playing the game. We know there's always going to be mistakes in baseball, right? And how do we limit those in doing it, but play the game aggressively in a way to win the game, not to go out for fear of failure or making mistakes, you know, and finding a way to play with that freedom and aggressiveness. And yeah, I do believe that the guys have done a really good job of that.